My name is Jeremiah Gold. Today I'm going to be discussing Chapter 9 on Meanings and Representations by Bazerman. My four key terms are ontology, epistemology, intertextual, and collective knowledge. Ontology is defined as relating to the nature of reality through human existence. Epistemology is defined as the theory of knowledge with regards to methods, validity, and scope. Intertextual is a term that is defined as the relationship between various texts and how they relate to each other. Collective knowledge is defined as shared knowledge developed by individuals or groups. Here I have presented two notable quotations, one of ontologies and epistemologies, and the other relative to intertextuality. Ontologies and epistemologies are not just philosophic abstractions, they are also practical matters of communication. The gist, rather than the words, becomes imported and heightened as a social farce within the unfolding narrative, but without a sharp picture or concrete other actor who asserts identity through his or her words. I have broken down the article into 5 key headers. The first one that I'm going to be talking about is a place for everything and its place. As writers, we know what to look for when locating specific information. This information is broken down into specific genres that focus on a specific target group. These genres are directed towards a specific audience of readers. It is important to keep the expectations in mind when looking for information. Sometimes genres are restrictive, and in the case that they are not fulfilled, you have to pay the cost. In the case that inappropriate material presents itself, the writer needs to take responsibility to legitimate its presence. Inappropriate material is completely dependent on the specific situation. The next slide I will be covering is where and how to get information. There are specific procedures and standards for gathering material. These procedures ultimately determine what information will be included in an appropriate manner to confirm the information. The writer must be aware of information in relation to a particular genre while making sure that the needs of the audience have been met. Once the genre is selected, it lets you know as a writer the standards of the field or domain. With introduction of new evidence, it may require that conclusive findings be used to justify novelty. Additionally, it persuades the readers of legitimacy of procedure. Ontology is defined as the study of the nature of reality. It helps identify what objects and events are valued and worthy of paying attention to according to the group. Expectations carry deeper considerations about how we can know and represent the world. Generic explanations are generally protected against faulty, misleading, or discrediting information. When presenting the information, the writer must ensure that it be represented in the proper form. Both of these terms are important in the instance that an outsider wants to communicate to a group. We must meet certain criteria. We must include what they see, what is important to them, and what attracts their attention. The next slide I will cover relates to intertextuality. Texts are utilized by interlinking forms of communication that rely on other forms for credibility by quotation. The quoted presents the information, but the quoter frames and constructs the situation itself in a way that is effective to both the writer and the reader. Paraphrasing is often used. The gist becomes important than the words, and the words themselves become less distinct. With the introduction of various genres, there are specific intertexts that are expected to be remembered. Professional literatures are texts that one is expected to know and relate one's current project to. The article over time is accepted as reliable or true by other experts in the field, and it is used to carry forward new research that will benefit the overall piece. Afterwards, the knowledge in literature get codified. Collective knowledge is shared knowledge arrived at by individuals or groups. It creates social worlds in which statements best have meaning. It is used to attempt to influence the reader's basic point of view. Finally, intertextual fields are relationships between texts that are maintained by social groups. They ultimately serve as symbols that flow in and out of the group, which provides differing perspectives or viewpoints. Intertextual fields become climates of opinion, influence ways of thinking and ways of seeing and representing evidence. Conclusively, they're an ever growing resource that creates new positions to speak from.